Next, please welcome another special guest, Laura Weidman Powers, Code 2040 co-founder and CEO.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have the chance to stand up here and tell everybody just a brief story. So the story starts in the summer of 2011. I was finishing up a stint at a tech company where I was running product at the time. And I went to have coffee with a friend of mine from business school, Tristan Walker. And at the time, he was running business development at Foursquare. So I went by the office and we were sitting in a conference room. And I was saying that I was finishing up what I was doing and thinking about what was next. And he rolled his desk chair over to the whiteboard, picked up a dry erase marker, and wrote a number on the wall. And the number was 2040. And he pointed at that and he said, the year 2040 is the year when people of color will be the majority in the US. And here we sit in the middle of the tech sector with all this opportunity, but look around. And sure enough, my experience had been that I was mostly sitting in rooms that did not look like this when I was working in tech. And he was mostly sitting in rooms that did not look like this as he was working in Foursquare. But we knew that it wasn't for a lack of talent in communities of color. So we decided to set out to build a bridge between communities of color and the tech sector, both to give opportunity, but also because we believe that this is the greatest economic opportunity of our time. With the changing demographics and the rising importance of tech, we really need, as a country, as an economy, to figure out how to connect the dots so that we see economic empowerment in communities of color and we see innovation in the American economy. So with that, we started Code 2040. At the beginning, it was pretty straightforward. We ran a fellows program that brought top Black and Latino computer science talent from around the country to the Valley and set them up with internships at tech companies. Our pilot program that first summer had just 5 students. We had 18 in 2013, 25, and it really felt like, at the time, that we were fighting a bit of an uphill battle. We were explaining to people why what we were doing was important. But we didn't let that stop us, and as we continued to grow the program, we realized that not only were we creating opportunity for the individuals in the program, but we were learning a huge amount. Because we were actually evaluating hundreds, at this point thousands, of Black and Latino computer science students. We were working with dozens, at this point nearly 100, Bay Area tech companies, and listening to how they thought about seeking and evaluating talent. So we used that to start expanding our reach. We realized that while 40% of the students who applied for the Fellows Program passed our technical screen, only 10% were getting job offers from partner tech companies. We realized that in order to succeed, you needed to not only have the skills to do the job, but the skills to get the job, and that was pretty different. So we piloted a program called the Technical Applicant Prep Program, which worked with students on campuses to help them get prepared to get those jobs. At the same time, we realized that companies were actually standing in their own way when it came to their ability to attract, to vet, to hire, and to retain diverse talent. So we started to build out programming for these companies as well. We were fighting what felt like this uphill battle until a moment in May 2014. And that was the moment that Google released their diversity data. And overnight, the conversation changed. Google pioneered the transparency around what it actually looks like in tech companies in the Bay Area. Up until that point, we could look around and feel that we weren't at representation, but there was no way to prove it. Google changed the conversation, and from that point, it changed from what felt like an uphill battle to having the wind at our back. Later that same year, in the summer of 2014, Google called. we had been doing a lot of work figuring out not just how companies could be more diverse, how students could gain access to opportunities, but what it means to think about building a diverse ecosystem. And Google for Entrepreneurs was working in 7 cities around the country, helping them get their tech ecosystems, kind of breathe life into their tech ecosystems. And Google and these ecosystems were really interested in not just building a powerful tech ecosystem, but an inclusive tech ecosystem. And so we started a conversation with Google for Entrepreneurs. We decided to pilot a program in 3 of those cities, where we would place a Black or Latino tech entrepreneur in a residency in the tech hubs that Google was partnering with. And that individual would get our support, Google's support. They would also connect the local tech hub with the local community to ensure that they were building and growing the ecosystem in a way that was inclusive. So we had just launched that program back in March 2015, the pilot of it, when I came to this brunch last year. And towards the end of the morning, I looked over and I saw that David Drummond, who was an executive at Google, now at Alphabet, was standing in a small group of people having a conversation. And I knew that every relationship that I had built at Google up until that time rolled up to David Drummond. Literally everybody reported to him that I had talked to. And I had never been in a room with him. And so I was very nervous, but I worked up the courage and I walked over and I introduced myself. I said, David, you don't know me, but my name is Laura. I run an organization named Code 2040. And he said, Code 2040, yes, I've been hearing about you guys. I want to come visit your office. And I said, oh, he must say that to all the nonprofits. There's no way. There's no way that David Drummond is coming to our office. At that point, frankly, we didn't even have an office. We were in a co-working space. But sure enough, I connected with Simone on his team, who's here today. And she said, no, he really means it. And so we booked a conference room at the co-working space. And they came to visit. And we sat down, he sat down with the senior team, and we talked through what we were doing. And that was that. It was a great meeting. And I was just thrilled that somebody at that senior level knew and understood what we were doing. But it wasn't until actually almost a year later that it became obvious to me how important that connection in that meeting was. In summer of 2015, we were discussing how to grow this 3-city pilot out to all 7 cities that Google for Entrepreneurs was working in. And just as we were getting to a point where we were agreeing on what that would look like, the news came out that Google was Alphabet. And suddenly everything was changing internally. And so I reached out to my contact at Google for Entrepreneurs and I said, we're super excited about this. It seems like we're all ready to pull the trigger. Does this have an effect on our partnership moving forward? And he said, you know what, I think it's gonna be okay because David Drummond believes in you guys. And he's in a position where he can actually make this happen even in the middle of all of this chaos. And so last week, we announced that we are expanding that partnership to all 7 cities that Google's working in. And we announced the 7 entrepreneurs who have 7 businesses, 1 in each of these cities: Austin, Chicago, Detroit, Durham, Minneapolis, Nashville, and San Francisco. So if you're in any of those cities, keep an eye out. And really, that would not have happened, it would not have been possible if it wasn't for the connection that was made at this very event last year. I don't think we would have been able to continue to grow the partnership even amidst those changes. And this is not something that is unique to Google. In all of the companies that we work with, there's always movement and shifting. And what keeps our ability to actually get the work done is to have those connections at really senior levels. People who can push through and put their foot down and say that this work is a priority, even when other things are hanging in the balance. So I just want to thank Andrea and Denmark for putting this event together. I want to thank all of you for coming. The honorees have said such inspiring things about how to think about moving forward out of today. But I hope that story helps to share a little bit the power of the network, the power of this network, and the power of this event. Thank you.